Hi, my name is Doretha Livsey. I'm privileged to be employed here at Anderson Livsey Elementary School. It's really named after my husband's family, the Livseys, and the Anderson family, who have lived in this community for many, many years. And you are living in an historical community known as the Promised Land. However, today I'm so happy to have this opportunity to read to you about Rosa Parks. So let's just assume that I am Rosa Parks, because do you know something? Actually, I experienced some of the same kind of situations that she experienced, because you see, I was born in 1936. Okay, so we'll get started. And here she is, drinking from a fountain. When I grew up, we had to drink from fountains that said colored. And then there was one that said for the whites. Okay, many years ago, black people in the South, this is where we live now, could not go to the same schools as white people. We could not eat in white restaurants. We could not even drink from the same water fountains. We had to stay apart from the white people everywhere we went. And this was called segregation. Segregation. Segregation was the law in the South. Can you believe that? If we broke the law, we could be arrested or hurt or even killed. For example, you see here, this sign says colored. That's where I would go. Then my white friends, and I did have a lot of white friends, they would go to the one that says white only. And we didn't think anything about it, because that's just the way times was at that time. But when we rode a bus, we was only sit in the back seats, and they would sit in the front seats. You know, they were just for the white people. If all the front seats were filled with white people, we black people had to give up our seats to the next white people who got on the bus. Can you imagine that today? That's the way we rode the buses in the South. When I was younger, I rode the buses and obeyed the laws. They kept me apart from my white people, but I didn't think they were right. You know, I didn't really feel good about it, but that's all that I was used to. That's all I was accustomed to, okay? One day I was riding on a bus, and I was sitting in one of the seats in the back section for black people. So then the bus started to get crowded, and the front seats filled up with white people. One white man was standing up. So the bus driver had the nerve to say, okay. The bus driver looked back at us and said, black people sitting down? In other words, if you're sitting down, you get up and give your seat to a white person. He said, let me have those seats. He wanted us to get up and give our seats to white people. But I was tired of doing that. I stayed in my seat. This bus driver said to me, I'm going to have you arrested. You may do that, I said, and I stayed in my seat. And to be arrested meant that he was going to call the policeman to put me in jail. So, just as I have previously stated, 2 policemen came. One asked me, why didn't you stand up? I asked him, why do you push us black people around? She's tired of that. The policeman took me to jail. They took my picture, and they took her fingerprint on a pad as if she was a real criminal, and they placed it on a white card. That way, they had my fingerprints. You heard of fingerprints? Then they put me in a jail cell. I did not have to spend the night in jail. My husband came to get me. A friend paid for my bail money. Bail means that somebody's paying your way out of jail. That meant I could go free for now. The police told me to come to the court in 3 days. And you know what happens when we go to court? There's a judge who will make a decision about what's going to happen to you for breaking the law. I went to court. The judge said I was guilty of breaking the law. I was fined $10. Oh boy. In those days, $10 was a lot of money, plus $4 in court costs. I never paid it. I did not feel that I had broken the law. I thought black people should not have to give up their seats on the bus to white people. I thought the law should treat black people and white people just the same way. I always wanted rules to be fair, even when I was small. Okay, so I'm going to move hurriedly. And this is how I grew up. Here the map is showing Birmingham, Tennessee, Montgomery, Alabama. I was born on February the 4th, 1913. I grew up in a place called Pine Level, Alabama. I was named Rosa Louise McCauley after my grandmother, Rose. Very beautiful family here. Okay, this book is a little thick, so I will read rapidly. My little brother was named Sylvester after my grandpa. My mother's name was Leona. She was a school teacher. My father was a builder of houses. His name was James. We lived on a farm with my grandma and grandpa. They owned their own land. They grew vegetables and raised chickens on it. So there they are. She was very happy helping her grandmama and her grandfather. Excuse me. And here they liked to go fishing. She enjoyed fishing as well with grandma and grandpa. They could not see very well because they were getting a little bit old. So I would put the worm on the hook for them. Pine Level was too small to have buses or public water fountains or even a library. But there was still segregation at the same time, which means what? Black over here and white over there. Sylvester and I went to a school for black children. It had only one room. White children went to a bigger school. There was a school bus that rode past us every day, and the children would really just say unkind things to us and throw things out the window at us, and they would laugh at us. They threw trash out the windows. There was no way to stop them. We had to endure that. One day, a white boy named Franklin tried to hit me. I picked up a brick because I had had enough, and I dared him to hit me. He went away. But my grandmama, who was really afraid that I would get into serious trouble, she became very, very angry, and she told me not to talk back to white folks. I thought I had that right to talk back when I was being respected. When I grew up, I married a man named Raymond Parks. The year was 1932. He was a barber. He lived in the city of Montgomery, Alabama. I was proud of my husband because he worked to help black people. He helped get lawyers for people who had been arrested. I began to work to help people too. I wrote down their stories and when they were hurt by the whites. I asked young black people to try to use the white library. It was very hard work. It was also very sad work because nothing we did really helped to make a difference. Everything was still the same. Then came the day on the bus when I would not give up my seat. Enough was enough. That's the way I felt. I was tired of black people being pushed around. Some people think I kept my seat because I had a hard day, but that is not true. I was just tired of giving in. Okay, we stay off the buses. Okay, many black people heard that I had been arrested and they were angry because they know that it was unfair. They thought it was time to fight for new laws. So here we are. There's a sign. Say unite. Don't ride the buses. Monday, December the 5th. And could you believe it? A woman named Joanne Robinson said we should not ride the buses if we had to give up our seats to the white people. So she passed out the leaflets, the flyers, to everyone that she saw. And so we just stay off the bus. And they call that a boycott. Yeah, if you've never heard of the word boycott, that means when you don't approve of something and you unite your forces together and you try to make a difference. The day of the boycott came, the buses were almost empty. Very few black people were on them. But a man named E.D. Nixon called a big meeting of black people. The meeting was held in a church. A young minister named Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. told all the black people to keep off the buses. Everyone at the meeting cheered and the boycott went on. We walked to work or took taxis. We got rides from our friends, but we did not ride the buses. Christmas passed. It was very cold, but we did not ride the buses. White people were very angry. They wanted us to ride the buses again. Some black people even lost their jobs because they would not ride the buses. So let's go on to see what happened. Some black people were arrested. That means they were thrown in jail. Some were beaten up. I got telephone calls, threatening calls from people who would not give their names, but saying very unkind things to me. They said they wanted to hurt me. Spring came, and then it was nice weather. We were still walking. All the black churches had station wagons to drive the people who could not walk. And they united together. Summer came, the buses had stopped running. There was not enough riders without the black people. So they more or less put them out of business. Mr. Nixon and Dr. King got lawyers to take our case to court. They took our case all the way to the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. You know where that is. That's where Obama is, the state capital. The Supreme Court said that the segregation laws were wrong. Black people should not have to give up their bus seats to white people. Our boycott worked, and we had won. We went back to the bus at last. We did not have to give up our seats anymore. We had stayed off the buses for a whole year. Since the boycott, let's see what has happened. Many white people were angry that we had won. My brother was worried about my safety. And so my husband and I, they left the South. They left Montgomery to find work in the North, where they were treated a little better at that time and had better opportunities. Her mother moved with her. However, back in the South, you remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. decided to fight against segregation in other ways. He led black people in the fight to vote and to eat in restaurants, just as white people did. He was fighting for their rights. This fight was called the Civil Rights Movement. Okay. So we're going to move on. Some white people joined the fight. Most went down south from the north, but some white people in the South joined the Civil Rights Movement too. I helped out by making speeches, and she told her story of what she had endured. And so new laws for equal rights was passed. The old segregation laws were over. Today, I still make many speeches, and I receive many awards. Some people say I started the whole civil rights movement because I would not give up my seat on the bus. I know that many people started the civil rights movement, and many people worked very hard to win the rights that black people have today. But I am glad that I did my part. There is still much work to be done. The laws that kept black and white people apart have been changed, but there are still many people who have not changed their hearts. And I hope that the children today will grow up without hate. I hope that they will learn to respect one another, no matter what color they are, because you are all special, you're unique. So today we look forward to many, many more years of learning. especially here at Anderson Livsey Elementary School. We love you, and I want you to know we want you to have high self-esteem. It doesn't matter what color you are, okay? Feel good about yourselves. Go forward, make good choices. You're being provided with a learning that lasts a lifetime. We have a dynamic principal and AP staff, assistant principals, teachers, faculty, and everyone here at Anderson Livsey. We are so thankful and excited about our school. And please make a difference. Thank you. I'm Doretha Livsey.